Welcome to Korean 1002 Korean Slang Culture Project. Slang is words or phrases that are informal language. It is used in speech more often than writing. Slang can be specific to a particular group of people or context, which means that the meaning of the words may not be understood to everyone. Slang in Korean culture works the same way as it does in American culture. Koreans have slang to differentiate standard Korean from the Korean that's used in daily conversations. So to be able to have a conversation in Korean, you need to understand their slangs. Here are some common Korean slangs to know. 짱, awesome, the best. The meaning is pretty self-explanatory. It's mostly used to describe someone or something as the best. It can be used alone or combined with other words. For example, adding ul to 짱 for 짱 means best face. Next is 헐, no way, oh my gosh. 헐 is used as an exclamatory expression when you hear anything unbelievable or unexpected. It can be used both in positive and negative settings. Positive, I went to the movies and won free tickets. 헐, how many did you win? Negative, my sister got back together with her ex that cheated on her. 헐, really? Tanganachi, of course. Tanganachi came from the phrase Tangyeonhachi, which actually means of course. Tangun means carrot. Because it's so similar with the phrase, young people started saying Tanganachi instead of Tangyeonhachi as slang. Tanganachi literally means it's a carrot. Moving along, we have 대박, that is crazy, jackpot, awesome. Bak comes from the term of winning a lot of card games or jackpot. Te means big. So when you put the two together, you have big win. It's usually for surprising situations and can also be positive or negative. Positive, 대박, I won the lottery. Negative, 대박, I just lost my phone. 파이팅, come on, you can do it. 파이팅 is actually a Konglish word, and it comes from the English word fighting. It's an expression of support and is usually a cheer you'll often hear during sports events. It's also used to boost the morale of a person who's about to go through a hard task. 화이팅 means the same thing, but it's mostly used verbally.
There are also food slangs that are used in Korea, and one of the most common ones that I've seen is chimek, which refers to chicken and beer. It derives from the two Korean words chicken and 맥주, which are two words we've already learned in class. Chimek is a dish combination of fried chicken and beer, which is very popular in Korea and is a very common thing to order in restaurants. An example of how you would use chimek in a sentence is 이 치맥은 정말 맛있어요, which means this chimek is really delicious. The next slang is 셀카, which refers to a selfie in English. It's a combination of the two English words self-camera to make 셀카. 셀카 is an extremely common term used in casual everyday conversation, and it is also used in the music and entertainment industry. An example of how you use 셀카 in the sentence is 귀여운 셀카를 찍었어요, which means I took a cute selfie. The next slang is pretty interesting as it's used pretty much exclusively in Korea. 애교 is a term that refers to someone acting cutesy, and it consists of speaking in a high, cute voice and making hand gestures such as peace signs and hearts. This term is mostly seen in the K-pop industry because idols are always asked either by their fans or by music shows to perform 애교 as an act of fan service. But the influence on 애교 in pop culture can influence the act to being used within everyday people's relationships, family, and friends. Lastly, I wanted to go over a few common texting slangs used in Korea that are pretty easy to use and understand. I'm getting my examples from an app that K-pop idols use to text their fans, so I just pulled some of this idol's text that I'm subscribed to where he applies each slang. The first one is the use of the letter kyut. It's added at the end of a funny statement you want to make or as a reaction to a funny statement someone else is making. So for example, he says, 편안하게 셀카 찍었어요, which means he comfortably took this selfie, and then he adds the kyuts at the end to indicate that he's laughing. The next one is pretty similar because we're doing the same thing by adding kyuts at the end of a statement to indicate laughing because it's equivalent to saying ha ha, except using this can be used in a more casual and lighthearted way to indicate a positive tone. For example, he says in this text, 오늘 날씨 진짜 좋아요, and he adds the hits at the end to indicate a positive tone. These two laughing slangs can be used interchangeably, but it really depends person by person. The last one is the addition of you at the end of a sad statement to indicate crying. This would be equivalent to adding a crying emoji or a sad emoticon. The example here says, 전 저녁 아직 못 먹었어요, and the use of you indicates that he's sad because he hasn't had dinner yet. And these are our resources, and that concludes our presentation, and thank you so much for listening.